Story of me. Tell you about my life before a street called Queen. See, I've been going through since a very little girl, born at the bottom with a tattered soul. I've been down, the valley low, one hold me down. And you ain't seen what happened to me when darkness falls. Demons will creep, there's blood in my veins. Fear in my pain can't come out into the sunlight, 'cause it never ceases to rain on me. There's blood in my veins. Fear in my pain can't come out into the sunlight, 'cause it never ceases to rain on me. Do you hear me now? I'm singing my song. Tell you about the things that been done wrong. On the expo scene, laying at the cross. Down on my knees, Lord, help me please. I've been down. The valley low won't hold me down. Just a little girl with a tattered old soul in the shack outside. Be quiet, I was told there's blood in my veins. Fear in my pain. Can't come out into the sunlight, 'cause it never ceases to rain on me. Blood in my veins. Fear in my pain. Can't come out into the sunlight, 'cause it never ceases to rain on me. You listening to the sounds of K-Soul. All the memories that linger in my own brain. Take me out of here, don't wanna be here no more. Thank God he heard me and he saved me. Yeah.
There's something wrong, things just not going fine. Let's put it all on the table, get to the bottom line. Things are about to ignite, just in a matter of time. And it is vivid as day, but you can't see the signs. Oh no, how many hits can we take till we can't take more? How many points you need, proving to you even the score. To the point where fear is knocking at doors, bang, bang, hit the floor. But maybe it's all in my head. Maybe I'm asleep in my bed. But the reality is, in the midst of the battle, I'm screaming no more.
Absolutely screaming no more war. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And just like football, after 2 bye weeks, we are back. And so I'm so glad that you tuned in this evening, because we're going to finish up the segment and series entitled The Truth About Him. And so tonight, it's going to take a different turn, because tonight we're going to actually discuss the difference between, or whether you think that there's a difference between spirituality and religion. And so for those of you that are watching, please feel free to type in the comments your thoughts, because we want to know, do you choose spirituality or do you choose religion? And so I have my wonderful panelist, Donna. And I don't know where Donna went, but Pastor Allan Cole is here. How are you?
All is well. All is well. It's a delight to be here. It's a delight to be here with you.
Absolutely. And Donna fell off, but now she is back. Now she is back. So,
All right,
guys,
Donna, don't fall off.
I know, right?
look, we're going to jump right in. And so, guys, what I want to do first and foremost is just to give you a little context because when we're talking about religion and spirituality, there are individuals out there, you know what, they want to know facts. So, I'm going to go ahead and give you definitions of religion and definition of spirituality, and then we're going to get into the conversation about the two. Religion is defined as a specific set of organized beliefs and practices, usually shared by a community or group. Now, religious groups tend to be organized geographically. The interesting thing is that Protestants, a couple of years ago, Protestants made up like 59% of the population. So I would be really interested to see what the stats look like now. Because we have so many people that are woke, and so I would love to know what that looks like now. However, spirituality on the other side is more of an individual practice, and it has to do with having a sense of peace and purpose. Spirituality focuses in on that one-on-one relationship with a higher being. Notice I didn't say God, I said with a higher being, because everybody's spirituality, is going to be different, because it is more of an individual practice. So tonight, what we're going to talk about both, but we're going to talk about them in terms of practicality. And we're going to practically apply religion and spirituality to things that are going on. So, Pastor Allan Cole, I want to defer to you and just let you kind of lead the conversation. Talk to us a little bit about religion and spirituality and really make it plain where they differ.
Well, thank you for deferring to me first. I feel like I'm on the hot seat right about now. But the simplest way to describe it would be to say religion is organized by mankind with boundaries and limitations, traditions and rituals. Spirituality is about connection and relationship as well as demonstration through application. Religion is about what you're saying and what you're showing. It is the presentation, but spirituality is a true representation of the essence of what it is, or the experience of it. So that's the difference. It's about traditions um, versus a real connection and relationship. Because if you are spiritually connected, it will show in your life. There will just be certain things that you don't do. Because when you're connected to us, it's like airplanes just don't fly backwards. That's just not what they do. So if you're spiritually connected, it will be evident and demonstrated in your life and how you apply yourself. Whereas the religious, and Jesus said in his word, the traditions of man make it for the word of God of no effect. So that's what I would say to open it up and to differentiate the two is rituals versus relationship.
Okay. So Donna, talk to us a little bit about how you interpret. And I see you shaking your head, so I know pretty much we're all in agreement. But go ahead and give us your, the practical application and your interpretation of spirituality versus religion.
About religion is that organized sector of following rules and following man's rules based on based on a community or group or whatever. It's we're just basically following what man says, according to, and it's supposed to be according to what the word says, but it doesn't always become that. Spirituality, I look at it as always as being, first you have to, in order to be in relationship with others, you have to learn to be in relationship with yourself. and while you're being in relationship with yourself and learning your piece and learning, who you are, so that you can then be able to define whose you are. And then when you're walking in your own spirituality, you're then able to build the relationships with Christ. And that Christ teaches us about being in relationship with him. It's a partnership. It's a joint venture of being with him. And that's what we want. He doesn't want us to and Christ didn't teach religion. He taught spirituality. He taught being in relationship with one another and being in relationship with him. When you are in relationship with him, then you are able to share his likeness with others. But you got to first know who and whose you are in order to do that. And religion cannot teach you that.
Okay. Okay. So I think now we set the tone and we set the foundation for where we're going. And guys, it's so interesting because when I was kind of thinking about this topic and preparing for this topic, I found that religion is broken up into subgroups of liberalism and conservatism, just like political affiliation,
Yes.
organization. So it really made me think, okay, Donna, you said something that I just really held on to. You made the statement that religion, is a set of organized beliefs, and it's supposed to be based upon what the word says. But man got a way of using the word to coat what they needed to say and what they wanted to say, and how they want to apply it. And so when I think about that, you as a minister, my question to you would be, when you're talking to people about, and trying to kind of bring them to a position of, I don't even want to say necessarily leading them to Christ, because at the end of the day, every man has to, seek ye first. But when you're ministering to people, how do you kind of address this?
A lot of times, the first thing I tell people is that I don't consider myself a religious person. I consider myself a spiritual person. And religion is my undertone. Religion is my background. It's what I've been. Is the things that I am taught of how to carry out. The instructions of God's word, not the instruction that man gave me, but to carry out the rules, so to say, of God's word. But I teach spirituality more so because, again, I think that, and I tell people, like, when I go see my patients, first thing I tell them, I'm not here to preach, teach to you or whatever. I'm here to first bring you spirituality. I'm here to introduce a relationship that I have with Christ and with my being, my maker, and with myself, how I love and appreciate me, so that I can love and appreciate you. And then together we can love and appreciate Christ together. And regardless of what religious sect that you find yourself in, with denomination, or which group you choose to follow, it all goes back to spirituality. Because I can talk to an atheist about being spiritual, because they're not going to hear me talk about religion, because
True.
they don't do. And it's not that they don't believe in God. They don't believe in organized religion, or organized sectors is what they don't believe in. And so I'm able to get into an atheist. I'm able to get into someone who doesn't necessarily want me to walk around with the Bible, because the Bible is going to be here anyway. But I can reach you by talking about relationship, my relationship. And then once I'm able to talk about me, then I can share with you the rest of the components.
Okay. Okay. So, and I think it's important. What you just said is really important. I can talk to an atheist about spirituality. Donna, that's important, because what's the first thing people always say? Oh, they the devil, they atheists, they don't believe in God.
Right.
That's not the
That's
case.
not true.
That's not the case.
Because first you have to believe in something to know that you don't accept it.
That's it. Ooh. Oh. Okay. Is that where you want to go? Okay. Okay.
you,
Okay.
because just because when someone says I'm atheist, we assume that atheist means that they don't believe in God. That's not what they're saying. They will tell you, oh, I didn't say I didn't believe in him. I said I don't believe in the organized religion that has come into existence versus us following the helping people, being doing what the work of the Bible tells
Uh-huh.
us to do. That's where their problem is. It's not just organized religion, it's organized politics. It's anything that entails organization that allows you to follow a specific rule is what atheists don't believe in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's so interesting that we're taking it there because I think we live in a time where we've forgotten that man created religious sects.
Right.
And what that looks like is everything we have. So what you got? You got your Baptist churches, you have your Kojic, you got your
Mm-hmm.
Pentecostal, then you got your Methodist, you got your Episcopalian, you have your non-denominational. And at the end of the day, it's just like we all turning our nose up at one another,
Mm-hmm.
but there's only one
One God.
higher being.
Right.
So you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Guys, if you're just checking in, that's why tonight is titled Spirituality or Religion. Because, and a lot of times, Donna, it's so funny. A lot of times I hear it from older people. Like, I have a aunt and I'll say, well, the older I get, I find that I'm more spiritual. I'm not really following a religion, so to speak, simply because a lot of the things that happen, like for instance, let's talk doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
In my home church, right now, at 34 and 3/4 years old, if I were to get pregnant, I would have
Mm.
to go stand in front of the church and apologize. Do you think I'm standing in front and apologize? If I didn't apologize before I laid down to have the sex, I'm not walking up in front of no church apologizing to nobody.
I wish I would. First of
Exactly.
all, who is the church
Hmm.
to call anybody
Hmm.
before them?
Hmm.
The Bible says
Hmm.
all of us have sinned and fallen short. So
Absolutely.
what gives you, if Jesus asked the people to come and says, who among you is without sin? If you are, then you cast the first stone. If he
Hmm.
can say that, what gives us the right as people
Absolutely.
to bring somebody before? No, 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 no.
Shame. Shame.
Right.
And the funny thing is, we talk about, we want to get young people, to come to church. We want to get, but one of the things I always heard a lot of people say, well, why am I coming there when y'all got more devils up in there than we got out here on the street?
Right. And they don't have an answer for it
Absolutely.
because you're supposed to. That's what, that no, I'm supposed to go into the community of faith in which I am associated with, or any
Mhm.
community of faith where I am going to be fed the word and get filled with the word, so that I can then take that out and share it with someone else who is not going to come into the vessel. It is, or to the building. It is, we get caught up on the building instead of caught up on being in relationship with one another. Because if you were in relationship with that individual, you saw
Yeah.
them as who they are, then you would not judge them or say you need to come into the building. You would be able to minister to them right where they are.
It's so funny and interesting at the same time because what we're saying is coming to this place. where love abides.
Mhm.
But love only abides until you do something that we don't agree with.
Exactly.
Because, when we talk about religion, Donna, we're going to have to take it there. If we're going to talk about religion and spirituality and why more people in today's society are choosing spirituality over religion, we got to talk about church hurt.
Exactly. Exactly. Because it's real.
It is
It is
very,
real.
very
and and
real.
and people don't, we try to, it's like old school, when things go
Mhm.
on in your house, you try to sweep it up under the carpet, or you keep it in the closet, you don't want to talk about it. Well, it's the same thing with church. If you don't deal with the church hurt, and as I put it, if you don't deal, and I think I did a sermon one time called being spiritually raped in the church.
Ooh, ooh.
Because if I am being hurt in the church because I don't do it the way that you say do it, or
Mm,
if I'm not saying it the way that you think that it should be said, or if I'm not
yes,
dressing the way that you think that I should
yes,
dress,
ma'am.
you have just raped my entire spirit and keeping me
Mm,
from that which God is trying to do with me. Because I don't care if I have a skirt up to my hoo-ha. If that's what all I got and that's all I know, accept me for who I am instead of dragging me across the coals. That's why we won't get our young adult, because they don't we forget as older adults
mhm.
that we all had a past, and some of us still tiptoeing in that past. So we forget that that person that came from the club and came straight in
Ah,
did the
okay.
same thing that we used to do when we would go to the club all night, and by the time we got finished doing all we gonna do, then we standing up on the choir stand or standing at the usher door. Ain't no different from when we were doing it. And just like
Absolutely.
God took us and dealt with us, who's to say they can't deal with them? Religion is not the church. It should not be the church.
Mm-mm-mm. Donna, it's so interesting that I can remember going to a certain event
Mm-hmm.
and you accompanying myself and my friends to this event. And we went to multiple venues.
Mm-hmm.
And the four of us were received so differently in the venue in correlation to other people that were there.
Right. Because regardless of where we are,
Take it on.
it is
Take it
still
on.
in us.
Ah,
Our
ah,
light is I can be in the dungeon. You can be in the dungeon. But because of what's in us, because our personal relationship with our being, we can be anywhere and still shine a light in a dark place.
that's it. That's all to it.
That's
That's
all.
all to it. Guys, if you're just checking in, we're discussing spirituality or religion. What's your choice? And please understand that we've already defined religion as a specific set of organized belief and practices, and is usually shared by a community or group. Spirituality, on the other hand, that's your individual practice, and it has to do with you having a sense of peace and purpose. And we're having this conversation because in 2020, in a time where religion is being used to deceive people in the voting booths,
Mm-hmm.
in the schoolhouse, and in the church. It's being used to control, which it always has.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what we have to really look at is, how do we work as believers to transform the practice, if that makes
Mm,
sense?
it does.
I feel like we have to help people that are orthodox thinkers. Because I grew up it's so funny. I grew up in the best of both worlds because my mom wasn't orthodox religious, but my dad
Mm-hmm.
was. But
Mm-hmm.
my mom is definitely spiritual because she'll cuss you out and pray for you in the same breath. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Cause look, she got a sense after she cussed you out, she back in her sense of peace. So you know, so she on both. But
Right.
you know, when I think about growing up in a household where my dad, it was like, okay, we're gonna read the word on Sunday, we're going to Sunday school, we're going to Bible study, we're doing this, we're doing. I'm like, oh my God. While I value that time, it's still kind of like now, okay, I gotta serve. You enter to worship, you depart to serve.
Right.
So I'll go worship with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But what I started to find as a young person is that a lot of people in the church, all they doing is worshiping and gossiping. They not
Mm.
serving. And if they serving so they can talk about the service. So that's not a cheerful giver.
Right.
So help me understand what you're doing.
Right.
So again, I say, Donna, I understand why so many people now are saying, you know, I'll go with you to church, but I'm not really a religious person. I'm spiritual.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't, because they don't know what the true definitions are. We
Mm-hmm,
know
mm-hmm.
what we've been told as
That's
religion,
that's
that,
true.
you know,
True.
if you don't go to church into this building, if you don't do this and you're not on this ministry, you're not following the ordinance of religion.
That's it.
That's, if we start understanding what Christ's role was,
Mm-hmm,
then I think we'll have a better understanding of how to be able to communicate with other people.
mm-hmm,
Because the church, a lot of people have, from when I grew up to, even to now, been in the church like you all my life. And I watched people go to church and practice religion out of habit, out of, it was what I do. I go to church every week. I go to church every Sunday. That's what I do. I sit on this pew every Sunday. That's what I do. That's what they consider religion. That's what they consider how, and I'm not knocking that's what you do. That's what you do. That's what you've been taught. But I'm not comfortable being in that box.
no.
I'm not comfortable knowing that I'm sitting here and I'm as I should be getting filled. But as you said, if you're getting filled and you don't leave that building to go and serve, you are doing Christ a disservice.
Thank you.
So
Thank
what
you.
is your real purpose of going?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And it's so ugh, ooh. So guys, we're not gonna beat you in the head with this. We're not gonna beat you in the head with it, but I struggle. I struggle with positions and leadership in the church because it's no different than politics.
Right.
Churches have politics.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, the definition of religion is a specific set of organized beliefs and practices. There's no difference between religion and politics except for with religion, what? You're just applying it
A different way.
a different way. So now it helps. I'm gonna be honest with you. Thinking about this helps me understand why people are so gung-ho about calling themselves Republican or Democrat, because unless you're truly an independent thinker, you need to be defined by something.
Mm-hmm. And that's the same as people, Lil, being called, feeling like taking it back from the Democrat or Republic, that people feel when you ask, someone in the church, what's your name? It's Reverend this, or I'm Pastor this, or, or I'm Deacon this. Well, just say Donna, or just say whatever, that's not taking away who you are. Now in the church, if you're in there and, you give respect where respect is required. But when you're out, or we get caught up on that title.
Honey, you know what's sad? My mother, and shout out, y'all know she ain't watching because she ain't on social media. I can tell her she's not getting on Facebook, but shout out to Betty Lou, because that's one of the things my mom has always said. Don't you dare, when I leave this world, put no deaconess, sister, or nothing like that on the program, on the obituary.
Mm-hmm.
That's irritating to me.
I find it
You know
irritating.
what?
And
People
it's not because I don't value and appreciate who I am. I know who I am. I know whose I am. I
Mhm.
know that I am his called servant, but I am Donna. I am, that's what's on my birth certificate.
That's it. That's it.
You know, that's who people will receive and listen to Donna before they'll listen to the one who comes up and says, I'm Reverend Donna. And both gonna give you the same thing, but you're gonna open your ears more because I'm not coming with the title.
Well, and it's just like even your presentation and your attire. I used to get into really heated discussions with some of my colleagues, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in public administration, because they were just like, well, you need to tone the earrings and the fingernails down. Okay, whatever. Because the response that I get when serving the population and going into the communities that we serve is going to always be different
Mm-hmm.
on the uprise than yours, simply because they can identify. And then that
Mm-hmm.
individual is like, well, they shouldn't, you don't want them to identify with you. Why not?
Right.
So now what you're saying is that you already think you better than the people we serve. When the truth be told, they might have this deficiency, but you got another deficiency. Hello.
Exactly. Exactly. We all fall short.
Whoo! And the issue that I have is that we compete
Mm.
with one another, and we don't realize that the person we competing against ain't paying no attention to us.
Could care less.
And shout out to my melanated brothers and sisters that are checking in, because we're the worst at it. And I think that we have to address the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have indoctrinated ourselves, because we have a choice. We have a choice to lead and not follow.
Mm-hmm.
But we choose to follow because it's been instilled in us that we are inferior and that we should submit. But I don't follow. I mean, anybody that know me know I break all the rules. I always I tell everybody I was the hellion child. I was the bad child. Ain't nobody know how Lily Mae was gonna turn out, because I was something else.
Mm.
But with that, I learned,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I didn't rebel long enough. I can't do this no more. But I go back to religion. I could not be bound by an organized set of beliefs. Read the word, of course.
Absolutely.
You know, we have, the Bible app. The girls and I do Bible plans together, and it's just like we talk mess, but we're human.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we might be operating in the flesh, and sometimes we might be operating in the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
But that light, and guys, this is the part I need you to understand. When you have an authentic light, because see, this is the thing. I can tell just as plain as day when there's a wolf.
Mm.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say even a year ago, I couldn't tell,
Mm-hmm.
because I was still a wolf. And I was trying to figure out how to transition, because a part of me still want to clap back on you, but a part of me also understands vengeance is mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my flesh is saying, let me clap back and then let you also get the repercussions and consequences. But now it's a position where that light, that light is there. And because that light is there, you can be a smart aleck and come out your mouth all kinds of sideways, and I can hear it and don't hear it. And I'm going to tell you, that's a graduation for me. You know, but that's when I also know that I've graduated from this organized set of beliefs and thinking. And now I'm an independent thinker, but I still have a spiritual
Mm-hmm.
relationship. And then I know that the people that I talk to on a daily basis also have a spiritual relationship, because when something isn't right with me, they
Mm.
tell me something isn't right with me.
Come on now.
And when I get ready to clap back, the same person that normally be the one to clap back can tell me, no, Lily, you don't clap back.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what you do. So I think that I choose spirituality, Donna.
Mm-hmm.
I choose spirituality because without spirituality, there'd be no religion.
Come on now. Come
Drop
on now.
and
Drop
mic.
right there. Right there. Because we go back to Christ again.
Oh,
How many times did he teach religion? If he were to teach religion, don't you think that he would have been inside a particular sect saying that you need to be a part of this organization, or you need to be a part of this committee, or you need to be a part of this? He said, no, you need to be a part of me. Be a part of him. So when you're a part of him, then you're able to walk into the religious portals, and then you can build character based on what Christ is building in you.
that's it.
Not what not what the doctrines say, but what the doctrine says.
Oh, that's it. That's it. That's it. Come on.
Because if we follow the doctrine, which is our only rule book, then we don't have to be so focused on the rules that are being given to us by man.
But then, Donna, wait a minute. But see, that I got an issue with that. Cause see, that rule book though done been rewritten so many
So
times.
many times we don't know what the authenticity of it is. And that's why the Bible tells us to study and show ourselves approved.
Woo-wee. But then you got all these credentials that you can purchase,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have all these different interpretations of these organized set of beliefs.
Right. That's why you gotta ask God. When I read something, I don't care whether it's in a church, whether
Understand?
I'm reading it for myself. I
Understand?
am gonna seek Christ.
Understand it?
God, I need you to make sure I understand this.
Woo-wee.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna need you to make sure that I get this, because just because you said it from up there doesn't mean I'm gonna take it as it's the gospel truth. I'm
All
gonna
I'm saying is,
know it for myself, because you can send me to hell quicker than I can send myself.
hello, somebody, Donna. And y'all know I'm gonna take it there. We just witnessed this a couple of weeks ago. Jerry Falwell Jr.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I'm gonna say.
That's all you gotta say. We keep putting people on these pedestals, thinking that they are your saviors. They are a man and woman just like everyone, and put your pants on one leg at a time.
Yes.
You are called.
Yes.
Some are called, few are chosen.
Yes.
Many are called, few are chosen.
Yes.
But you also have to know that just because they say it, just because they do, And God is in this whole, we see it, everything that God is doing in this season. He is bringing down some things, bringing down some people, doing a whole new twist on this stuff,
Woo!
because we have put people in place.
Mm.
We have put people above God. And God said that there shall be no one above me.
Honey, wait. Okay, so before, because before we even, if it weren't, well, I can't even get it together right now. If it weren't for my spiritual sisters, who are also my ride or dies, one of which is my shooter,
Mm-hmm.
if it weren't for them, the other day, someone that I think highly of, who is a positioned person in religion, said some things, and I was just like, huh? What? And I had to step back, because when I say I was gonna clap back, baby, I was gonna clap back like the straight devil himself.
Mm.
And my clap back, I think I had to learn. It was hurt. Because like you said, I had put this person on a pedestal because of their position,
Mm-hmm.
but because of their perceived position,
Mm-hmm.
not their actual position.
Right.
Because if I really think about it, we ministering to people right now.
Yes. Yes. Because there's some
We
people
ministering to
who've been
people right
hurt. There's some people who are trying to find their way.
now.
There's
Yes.
some people who have been told all kind of stuff of what you should do, what you ought to do. You need to do this. Use your own discernment.
That's it. That's it.
You gotta have discernment to know what's right and what's wrong. And I can have every degree, had this and had that, but that does not make me an expert in knowing it. But trial and error has made me a life expert on the things that I've learned, the things that I know that I can take away and say, no, that wasn't for me. This ain't for me. I can't do it like that. You have to know what God or whoever you serve. You have to know within yourself, within your own personal relationship, is this the right thing? Is this the way that I should go? Don't follow something just because somebody else following it. Don't follow the movement because the movement is on fire right now. I was looking at the cult stuff last night on ID channel. All of those people started following that cult because of what looked good, how it made them feel good. But none of them allowed what was being received by them to be dissected by them. You need to dissect the word. You need to dissect any this organization or anything that you feel like that you want to be a part of. You need to make sure that's where you're supposed to be, not where you want to be. Whether it's joining a church, don't join a church because they got this big praise team. Don't join a church just because the pastor look good, or because he can shout from heaven, shout heaven down. Join the church or join the body of believers because that's what God has told you to do. That's where He's planting you so that you can become useful in the kingdom of God. All right, I'm done.
Doctor, wait a minute. Because I got to take this joint street. So let's do some practical application.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm out here in this entertainment industry, and women in the entertainment industry gotta sleep their way to the top.
Right.
So obviously, that's not my personality.
Right.
And I'm a bulldog, so I'm gonna do what I need to do anyway.
Right. On your own.
And it's funny that you just said, don't join these things and follow these things because they look good. And it just takes me back to the industry. And I just said this today on an Instagram reel. And I said, everything that you see, that ain't really what it is. People out here faking with their businesses in somebody else's name.
Come on now. That's like you got your car in your mama name.
Or driving it.
Or driving it. Mm-hmm.
I mean, religion, politics, entertainment, all of these things sell.
Yes. Yes. Who has the biggest edifice? Who
Oh,
has the biggest band? Who has, who can dance the best? Who can do this the best? That's what people are attracted to. When are you going to stop being attracted to the things and attracted to God or Christ? Or, when are you going to be attracted to that which makes you who you are?
That's it. When are you gonna stop being attracted to the thing and be attracted to the source? Because I want the source.
Yes.
This is my thing. I said this a long time ago. I'm tired of being an extension cord.
Yes. Come on now.
I want to be the outlet because that's all the power.
Come on now. All the power comes from.
I'm tired of being the extension cord.
Yes. You're going to make me preach that.
Honey. Hello, somebody.
Yes.
Like, y'all out here being extension cords and power surges.
And putting one extension cord to the other, running it from one place to the other.
Blowing up stuff.
But
baby, because one thing about it, if that extension cord don't work, you're going to throw the extension cord away before you check it.
Before you check the, yep. Yes.
And the only way you can fix the source is if you the master electrician.
Yes.
What?
Come on
now. They don't understand it. Because, see, they don't understand it because I'm not humming and ha-hoo and all that.
Way.
They don't understand it. It's so funny. I think about my grandma. Like, we used to have back home, it was this station called Willa. And so my grandma, I used to be like, Grandma, turn it up. I want to do it. And I used to be like, because I used to want to do what they did. I used to love when the preachers would be like, And I realized, they're trying to get some air because they
exactly. They can't breathe. They can't breathe.
Guys, if y'all just checking in, we are really having a candid conversation about spirituality and religion, but we're talking about the practical application thereof. And I'm going to keep it a stack with you. Y'all out here living in perceived reality, but why don't we live in actuality? Actuality.
Because you can't live in actuality without knowing who you are.
Oh, whoa.
You can't live in actuality. You got to know who you are. And so many people fake who they are. It's like looking in the mirror and you seeing somebody who's not there because you don't know. Your reflection is not even coming back because you done pretended to be somebody so long. You don't even hardly cease to, you don't hardly exist. We can't do anything at all, whether it's religion, whether it's spirituality, it starts with self. You have to know who you are. But we so fake. We so fake because we feel like if I fake it, we say fake it till you make it. But if I'm fake and I act like I have it all together, if I fake it and act like I'm all of this, then I'll be received or I'll be.
So if I post it on social media, it's real.
Yeah, it's real.
Or if I do it while tax time and stimulus time,
it's real.
But okay, I get it. Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
But wouldn't it be real? Well, no, I guess it's not real because somebody had to give you that extra for you to be able to make it.
Before you be able to make it. And I can't bless you when because I got this. I got to wait until I can announce on or do a video to show how I'm going to bless you. or I can't use, that moment of being in relationship with just me and you, that it's me and Lil and we just talking, and God tells me to just bless you and to just speak into you. I gotta say, hey, wait a minute, let me put it on video so everybody can see it.
Oh, so you saying, like, for instance, just say some certain celebrity just decided that they were gonna stop by and donate 5,000 backpacks. You saying that they should be able to do that with no cameras? Okay.
Exactly. If you can't do it behind closed doors, then you
Mhm.
don't need to be, some things are. Let me go back. You remember when it's like you when I do post pictures of the ministry,
Mhm.
you do notice that every face is clouded out. I cover
I ain't never think about that.
every face of anybody that we help.
I never
I
thought about that.
I do not show anybody's face. The only
Okay.
reason you get to see what we're doing is because 501c3 said we got to show you what we're doing.
That's it. That's it.
That's the
That's
only
it.
reason you see what we're doing.
That's
But
it. That's it.
otherwise, if you're helping and you're doing what God has called you to do, why does it have to be advertised? Who are you advertising it for? Is that what
You,
it means to
you,
be in religion?
you, you.
I'm, and I think that that's what you see, what causes so many people to not want to be a part of something. And I appreciate the churches that do this, is
Yeah.
that when someone wants to join a church, they tell everybody close their eyes and put their heads down.
Yup. Yup.
That are truly about the word. Because that's not something that needs to
And they don't
be
take no books.
broadcasted.
And they don't take
No,
no books.
don't take no, nothing.
But
I think that
you know what, Donna? I think it goes back to this organization and this set of beliefs, because I noticed that, my home church is an older, more traditional church. My
mhm,
church, here in the city, um, while it's traditional, it's more liberal
right.
traditional. So we
Mhm.
still, communion, we do all that stuff. But I also, even down to the dress.
Mm.
My mom was so lit when she came to him. She was like, "Oh yes," because my mama and my mom, my godmom, they broke the mold up in the church with their pants on Communion Sunday, baby. The white pantsuit. And Betty Lou was like, "I wish you would tell me something about my pantsuit." You know, but Donna, it's so crazy, even down to how you dress. You don't go to
Mhm.
church with your arms out. Let me tell
Right.
you something, I'm big.
And it's hot.
I'm not about to be hot up in this church.
Mm. Honey, I was told for Easter that unless, I'm the type, I wear what I'm comfortable wearing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, I will, if I'm in you would say when in Rome do as the Romans do. So if I'm in your domain and you're asking me to preach, I'm going to be respectful and ask, and you, how would you like me to, do you do robes? Do you whatever, do whatever?
Uh-huh.
That's respect. But if I'm coming to just worship and hear the word of God and just get fed, what I have on should not matter to you as long as I'm respectful to God.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was told on this Easter that if I did not dress in Easter Sunday
I
clothes,
think I remember that.
that I could not, they weren't letting anybody into the church. So you know me, I was going to wear my jeans and some cute heels just because you can't tell me what to wear if I'm coming to worship God, not you. Because that means now you're taking ownership of the building as if it's yours. So when I come in your house, you take my house, you take your shoes off at the door because it's my house. But when you in God's house, when did he say you couldn't? That I couldn't have my jeans on. So only thing that kept them from me not coming was COVID. That's the only thing that kept them from not coming was COVID.
We gonna wind it up, but we do an encore. We gonna wind it up, but we're gonna do an encore, guys. We're talking about spirituality or religion, but as you can see, you don't have to be a religious fundamentalist or fanatic or radical to understand what we're talking about, because we can apply to so many different eras. Like, I have to, Donna, it's so crazy. I seek ye first the kingdom all the time because, honey, this industry, baby, girl, the lust, the flesh on top of flesh on flesh on flesh on flesh, like, it's crazy.
You know, Lil, unfortunately, it ain't no different in the world of ministry.
Oh, honey, oh, Donna, we can't go there.
It
Because it's
is
a lot of them, baby.
this is the biggest, one of the biggest competitions that I have ever in my life witnessed. And I've been in ministry for 20 plus years. I have never in my life thought that I would have to feel like I'm in competition with my other sisters in the ministry. Or feeling like, you know, that if I don't do it the way you do it, then we can't, it's never gonna mesh. Or I'm not going to be recognized for who I am because I'm not of the male dominance. We have allowed religion to destroy who we are as the people of God.
That's it.
Who are supposed to be, you know, hearing his voice, speaking his word, letting people know, you know, it's a north, east, south, and west. You can't do that set up in that building. And forgetting that there are people on the outside who are struggling with who they are, who are struggling trying to find a way, who are struggling trying to find an existence and what to even believe in. Is there even a God? We are hurting them because we're telling, if you don't believe in God, you don't believe in nothing. Well, until they get to that point of their relationship, we can't tell them not to believe in anything that they choose, that they're trying to. We have to just speak the word, live the word, walk and talk the word, not just on Sunday, not just on Wednesday, but every single day. I'm going to be who I am, whether I'm in the church or whether I'm in the street.
That's it.
You going to recognize me. And I tell people, I am the female version of Peter. So I'm Petra.
Petra.
Because sometimes I might have to get raw because I know the type of ministry I do. I know that, you know, what those that I'm out there with. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff for people.
No.
I'm going to shoot straight from the hip and be real with you, because we are not in a time where people have a whole lot of time to try to figure out.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Which direction you want to go.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now. Even with somebody who was grounded and rooted in faith and practice, I know.
Yes.
I tell you this all the time. I ain't got time to get it wrong.
Exactly. I'm too scared to get it wrong.
Thank you. Because at the end of the day, I know, I used to hate this. All my daddy and his brothers would say, now they ain't say the wages, they said the wages.
The wages of sin is death.
Potato wedges for these shoes I got. But now I know it's the wages of sin is death. Right. And one of the things I would never forget, my dad would always say, in his very, very soft spoken, stern demeanor, he was like, the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life.
Eternal life. Mm-hmm.
What he would say is this. He would say, but baby, I ain't talking about a physical death.
Come on now.
Spiritual death.
Spiritual.
Because, baby, some of these folks gonna suffer before they leave this world.
Say
And
so.
let me tell you something. And you know, I start from within. So I start with me.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't mind talking about my family because see, that's the other thing. We got this thing where we try to sugarcoat and we try to fake within our families.
Yes.
That's not my life.
Right.
So I know that my suffering came because I tried to rebel.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to run, and the more I ran, the more things did not work out for me.
Yes.
But when I stopped running and started walking and not looking back, that's when things started to line up. And see,
Mm-hmm.
people got it misconstrued. Everybody around here ripping and running off these taxes and stimulus checks and thinking that they got a blessing, but the devil sends blessings in
Come
disguise.
on now. In disguise. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
You feel
ma'am.
what I'm saying?
I feel what you're
And
saying.
when I say the devil, I mean what I said, because I know it's some of y'all political out there. Yes, I said the devil sends blessings.
Sends blessings. Yes, it
And
sends you what you think it is.
it did not give you those checks. Congress did.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
anyway,
you best believe that there's going to be a price for everyone,
okay,
everything. You
you know
best
what I'm saying?
believe.
But baby,
You best believe
baby,
the only thing that you're gonna get in this world is free, is your is salvation is free.
it's oh hey.
That's what you get free.
So very oh my God, like I'm just tired, girl. I just because the thing is for me, I just get so irritated every time I get on social media and people I know though, and people I know are talking this talk and speaking, and I'm just like, but I really know what you're doing for real though.
Right. Because you have to put on for the people.
Yeah. And have you ever noticed that you'll know somebody, they'll post something, but the people that's closest to them don't respond to their
Don't
post?
Yes, ma'am. If you don't see those closest to you make a response, that's when you need to just scroll right on by.
And I think that some of us live in this false reality where we really have well, we've lied to ourselves so much.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's so interesting because I can say these things now because I was there. We
Right.
lie to ourselves so much that we begin to justify in our own minds. And if we're yoked with someone who is
Mm.
the same way, we end up, it's a domino effect.
It's a domino effect. It's like
I
two
don't
magnets
think
being
many
together.
people have authentic friends, significant others, or loved ones anymore that's really going to tell them to just stop lying.
Right. I'm that one.
Yeah. But if you notice that those of us that start those practices and start to implement more tough love,
Mm-hmm.
you're shunned. You're
Mm-hmm.
and I finally become okay with being shunned. You don't
Right.
have to talk to me.
Right. Because what, I mean, what difference does it make? What do they have
Mhm,
that they're going to take from you?
mhm,
Your walk,
mhm,
except they're poisoning your walk. Because
mhm.
if you're not adding to it, you're taking away from it.
There it is.
If you're not giving me positive feedback, and just because you my friend, don't just everything I say is correct. No, tell
Mhm.
me when I'm wrong, because
Absolutely.
those are my growing pains. Though
Absolutely.
that's how I grow, and that's how I become a better person, so that
That's it.
I can understand who I am. But we see all of this fakeness in in people that's supposed to be our close friends or supposed to be our family, but we don't want to call it out because we don't want to be the one that oh well, they're going to be upset with me, or they're going to be no.
Ugh,
No, we have to
ugh.
call a spade a spade. And that's not saying that you have to do it in a demeaning way or that you put somebody down. That means you just let somebody know, hey, wait a minute. Come on. We're trying to grow. We're trying to become better. In order to become better, we first have to, do that self-identity thing. We got to start recognizing us.
Mm.
and
But
being
that would
real.
require us to be truthful with ourselves, though, right?
Right, right.
And
We
then-
have to be.
But then, if we're truthful with ourselves, that would then require us to be truthful with everybody else.
True. And that's why it's easier to just hide in the shadows of the lie.
Okay, but if we're truthful with ourselves and truthful with everybody else, then if what we're living is a lie, then people are going to reject us. So it's easier for us to just live a lie, have high blood pressure, heart palpitations, and all that foolishness, and suffer in silence rather than to.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
so
Sad, but so.
so you know what's funny though, and I shouldn't say funny, but you know what's very very interesting and significant. I never saw suicide rates so high amongst we as the African American people
Hmm.
until I must say the last 5 years or so.
Because we have learned that we cannot keep up with the lie anymore. That we have the Joneses that we thought that we were,
Hmm.
and that we have pretended for so long to
Hmm.
be, and to forget what side of the track that, we tried to hide what side of the track we came from, or what we grew up with, and how we grew up, and who our parents were, who our family members were. We have hidden that so much, so long, that we don't know how to handle when the truth really comes out. So
Mm.
it's easier to just take yourself out,
Hmm.
so you don't have to deal with, the reality of the here and now.
Mm.
It's crazy, but it's not going to stop.
It's
It's
not.
not going to change until people say, you know what, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. What
I
I'm going to
have.
focus on is dealing with my own inner peace,
Mm.
dealing and finding
That's
what
it.
my own purpose is.
That's it. Ooh.
Because that person, I can't walk in your purpose. I can't walk in what God has for Lily. I can't do
Mhm.
the music because that ain't me. But I have to learn who I am and walk in my own personable place.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
until we find peace within ourselves, until we find peace, and peace does not mean that you just go and say, oh, everything is okay. Peace means that, you know what, you do your mess, I'm going to live my life. Because you can't find peace in somebody else's stuff. You have to learn to look past it, forgive it, and move on,
Ooh.
so
Woo.
that you can be
Ooh.
happy, so that you
Ooh.
can be purposeful in this life. There's no point in us having any type of relationship, whether you're walking in spirituality, whether you're walking in religion, whether you're doing anything, or you practicing, doing boot, you doing whatever. There is no point in having any of that until you first have you know who you are. Then once you know who you are, you learn who you are, you realize whose you are, then you start practicing some forgiveness for the things that has caused you to forget who you really were from the beginning.
You know what, guys? And on that note, and on that note, guys, if you miss this episode, I'm gonna need you to run it back and pay attention because see, so many people didn't check in or didn't want to check in because they see the topic. I thought about naming it something else.
Mm-hmm.
I literally thought about giving it a vulgar title just to see how many people would check in.
Or would have been loaded.
It would have been.
Because
I
we,
really
we
would
we
have
like
called it.
trash, we
But you
don't
know what
like
I was gonna
truth.
call it? I was gonna call it ass and titties. That's what I was gonna call it.
And then you'd have had it packed.
There you go.
You'd have had it packed.
Because what I'm finding is that you really have to sexualize or monetize things for people to really understand that at the end of the day, somebody prayed for you
Yes,
to be where you are.
absolutely. Mm.
And if you don't have somebody outside of yourself interceding on your behalf,
Whew.
yo, you messed up. Because let me tell you something. I know I've interceded on other people's behalf when I ain't have nothing in me. So I'm just sitting there like, well, hold up. Somebody intercede. The angels are interceding on my behalf, because how the hell am I interceding for them
When I ain't got nothing.
and I ain't got nothing in me? I'm tired with
Mm-hmm.
bleach. I'm tired.
Yes.
So I say that to say, guys, check yourself, examine yourself, decide what you gonna do. I'm not telling anybody to stop what you're doing. I'm definitely not saying stop going to church. That's
Oh,
that's my
that's
pick up on Sunday morning. That's my thing.
mhm.
Virtual service is everything to me. It definitely sets my tone for the week.
Absolutely.
But what I am saying to you is examine yourself before you eat of that bread and drink of that cup. That's all.
Hmm. Yes. Know why
Because
you do what you do.
thank you. When you eateth and drinketh unworthily, you eateth and
Eat
drinketh
this drink of
damnation,
damnation unto
not
yourself.
discerning the Lord's body. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
so what that means is I don't care what you're eating and drinking. Be good to yourselves.
Hmm.
Be good to yourselves. And understand sin. Understand that overeating is sin. Lying is sin. See, we have this thing where we feel like if we not cussing, drinking, sleeping with nobody, husband or wife, or murdering nobody, or robbing anybody, that we're not sinning. No. Anything in excess is sin.
Hmm.
So there is no greater sin. Like, y'all need to stop categorizing sin. Like, just because I sin differently than you,
Still sin.
it is what it is. So guys,
Hmm.
this isn't the end, because what we're going to do is this conversation about religion is going to come back, particularly when we talk about politics in October, November, because if you really pay attention to what's going on, religion is playing a huge part in politics and always has. But that goes back to Judaism, and we'll talk about that
Hmm.
a little bit later. But Donna, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You will be back, because we're going to expand upon this, and we're really going to continue to have this conversation, because I think that people need to see people authentically discussing this, because so many people are having these conversations, but they're watered down and they're politically correct. And y'all know ain't nothing about me politically correct. I'm going to keep it real. And so that's just what it is. So, guys, thank you so much for checking in. All things authentic. We are closing out the truth about Him. But please understand, we are always operating in the spirit of Him,
Yes.
no matter what
Yes.
you may see. Because one thing about it, He knows our heart, and that's not an excuse or a cop out. It's real, because we all fall short. Spirituality or religion, you take your pick, because we've chose ours. Have a great night.